This is Tic-Tac-Toe. This is also Tic-Tac-Toe. Here's how to make them. First, you'll go into your favorite code editor, add a new Java project. In the Java project, in the source folder, you'll add a package, and you'll call that Tic-Tac-Toe. In this package, you'll add a class file, and you'll call that simple Tic-Tac-Toe. You'll add a main method upon upon creation, and in the main method, you'll want to add a print statement, copying this, and another one, copying this. These are the user instructions on what he has to do. You'll now add a game loop. Enter number is going to be our function for entering into the field. It's going to be a static void method. We're not playing around with objects or anything fancy like that. We'll just make this very simple. Moves is going to be a private static int. We'll initialize it at 0 as no moves have been played yet. While we're up here, we'll also create a string array called content, and this will store whatever we have in the field. So wherever we have an X or an O, it will be stored. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can have everything in the 3x3 field. We'll need another thing, which is the string for whichever mark is being placed right now, and we'll start with an X. You can also start with an O, depending on what you want. And lastly, we'll also need a scanner to read input. We'll need that in just a second, so add it for now, and I'll show you where it will be needed. Initialize it with system.in so we can read from the console. And remember to import your scanner class so you can actually properly use it. Now back to the enter number method. We'll need to print the board so the user knows where to place. This is another method we'll be doing in just a second. Add it empty for now. Then after that, we'll ask for the number of the square the player wants to enter. He'll be using our scanner class. As you can see, we have the scan here and we have the scan here. After the number, we'll ask whether the specific field specified by the number. We'll have to subtract 1 because our indexing from the array starts at 0 and the indexing from the user starts at 1. We'll need to figure out whether that is actually empty, and if so, we'll place whatever the place in the square the user has wanted. If not, we'll return. This will make sure that only if the field is empty we can actually place. Now, after that, we'll need to make sure that the mark switches. So if X just had his turn, we now need to give O his turn, and we'll go do that using this. This will switch from X to O and vice versa. After that, we'll need to evaluate whether the game has ended in another function. This will be this function here. And just one minor detail, so we don't forget it, we need to add 1 to the moves, which was done with this statement. This will make sure that after every actually legal move, we'll add 1 move. Now to print out the board, we'll just use system.println statements, and we'll start with straight line plus first square of the board plus another square line. We can just copy this to make it a little easier. And we'll add another straight line at the back. Add another plus sign here so it doesn't give us an error. Copy this. Now we'll just need to update the numbers so we don't print one line 3 times. So that is done now, and we'll just add some lines in between to make it a little prettier and easier to read, and we'll just add 7 of these signs. And this line once again can also be copied, and we'll copy it in here. So now we get a nice board like the one down here. Now for the game end function, we'll start by giving ourselves an empty string. This will save whatever player has won, if any. And now we'll create a 2D array, which we'll need to figure out all the combinations that if a player has won, and those are these combinations. So those are all the lines, all the columns, and all the diagonals that a player could have 3 in a row in. And we'll need to go over these, so we'll save them in this array for now. We'll now go make a string called winning mark. This one will be used to evaluate whether there is actually 3 of the same marks in a row. We'll have to do a counting loop rather here. And with this loop we'll iterate over all the combinations in here. And for every combination we'll evaluate this, whether the content of the position specified by the array up there equals the winning mark, and we'll need to use that 3 times. So we'll have it for 0, 1, and 2. And this line is going to evaluate whether we have these 3, for example, or we have these 3, or these 3, or whatever. So that will only evaluate true if there's 3 in a line, wherever they may be. Now, if this evaluates true, we'll set the winner to the winning mark. And that's done for the case that X won. Now we'll set winning mark to O. We'll just copy this, which is not very efficient. Stay tuned for the next Tic-Tac-Toe video. We'll be writing a way better version than this that will also look way nicer. It will use an actual interface, so definitely come back to this channel. Now we'll need to evaluate whether the string winner has been assigned to anything. So in this thing, we'll only get into whatever is written in here if there is no winner, if there is a winner, and in that case we'll print out 1 empty line in order to separate the last time we printed the board and the place where we print out the winner. And we'll print out who the winner is with this statement. This will insert whoever the winner is into the text. So for example, player X has won or player O has won. And while we're at it, we'll also print the board 1 last time so we can see the winning board. After which we'll close the scanner so we don't waste any memory, because that's not really good. Also, the compiler doesn't like that. And after that, we'll exit the system. And that's it. There you have it. That's all the code you'll need for this program to work. I can now run this, and I can enter. And now you see, after I just placed 7 numbers in here, I've won. X has 3 in a row. Thank you for watching. definitely stay tuned for the next one. It's gonna be awesome.